Welcome back. In the last lesson, we talked about the familiarity between curves and levels. In this lesson, let's talk about the image and correcting it. As we see here, we can see this image, and we can look at our histogram here, and I'm going to move it over. Move it over. And let's open up our info panel. All right. And I have my color sampler point, and I move my image, move my cursor over this image, and I know this is black because I remember taking it at the museum, and you can kind of see that it's black. But if you look over here, you can see that my red is 94, my green is 89, and my blue is 86. So I have more red than both of them. I have more green than the blue. Okay, fine. Let me move it over another point that I know that's white, maybe around this area. Now you can see that my red is 155, green is 142, and the blue is 131. So that means I have more red than green, and green I have more than blue. So there seems to be some type of shift, right? As I look over here in my histogram, I can validate this by saying there is no highlight detail, there is no shadow detail, and my red is more than my green, and my green is more than the blue. So there's a color cast going on that we're going to need to fix. How do we do this? All right. First thing I need to do is find my light and dark point. And I would use a threshold slider, but I'm not going to do it this time. We're going to eyeball it. So what I'm going to do is press Alt and move this to the right. And this is going to show me where the clipping is. I'm going to look for black. Okay, I see that it's here. Let me just right around this area here. Okay, that's fine. So let's just place the point. So I'm going to place the point there and move this back. And I'm going to try the highlight. Oh, excuse me, there we go. So way you can see the whole picture. Wow. Okay, and I'm going to place the other point right there. Now normally you would do this with the threshold layer, which is the correct way. I'm just eyeballing it here just to show you another way. I'm going to reset the curves dialog box. I'm going to choose my eyedropper tool. I'm going to come over to the highlight, and I'm going to press Control, Shift, and click on that point. Now you'll see here that nothing happened, but actually something did happen. If I press Alt 3, it'll bring up the red channel, and you'll see a point that's already selected, ready to go. You'll also notice on the info panel that I have point 1, which is the shadow, and point 2 is the highlight. So I'm going to be looking over here to correct it. And what I'm basically going to do is I'm going to take these 2 points and bring it to the top point for the highlight. So the red's already 156. I'm going to leave that alone. So I'm going to go to Alt 4, which is going to bring up the green channel, and I'm going to raise my green a little. Okay, and then I'm going to go to Alt 5, which is the blue channel, and I'm going to bring up my blue numbers. As you can see here, they're being brought up. Okay, and now I'm going to go to number 1 point, which was my shadows. Let me go back to RGB channel. And then I'm going to press Control, Shift, click, and then go Alt 3, which is going to bring up the red channel. And now I'm over here looking at these numbers. And I'm going to probably bring them down to the lowest number, which is going to be 118. Doesn't seem like there's going to be that much of a difference. Okay, the green I'm going to bring down to 118. Okay. And then let's look at our histogram. We're going to redo this. And you can see here that we've pretty much color corrected the image here. Look at all these histograms starting to line up so beautiful. But we haven't adjusted the shadow and the highlight. So how do we do that? Well, let's go over to the RGB now. And let me turn this off here. Press Alt. And let me move this over till I start to see. Okay. And then let me move this over till I start to see. Okay. And I can see now I can visually need to just back that off a little more, obviously. Okay. And the wall's looking gray like it should. Let's look at my histogram. Let's reset it. Okay, we can see here we fixed the highlight detail, and we have some shadows we probably could bring in a little bit more. Let me see how. You don't want it to glow because it gets really close to glowing. Okay, and then let's look at the before and after. Okay, there's before, there's after. there's before, and there's after. Now you'll see some of this white kind of looking like it's blurry because the image is actually a little bit blurry. And then I would correct this over here by masking this off. In another lesson, what I would do is further correct it, and I'll show you in a later lesson in this chapter using shadow and highlights, or apply another curves to actually correct this, or a levels. It's whatever you want. Now in the next image, we're going to correct it using curves again.